Decent. Hello, guys.
Great.
Welcome to Live and Undrugged. This is almost live and undrugged, I guess, due to technical issues that we've had over the past few
Yeah.
days to get Lee up and running. It's been an absolute nightmare. So we're recording from my cellular data. So yeah, let's hope it works properly. This evening. I'm with Lee Marvin Hitchman, former criminal, rehabilitationist, author, and he's going to tell us something, a bit about his life,
Yeah.
and where he was and where he's at now. Thanks for getting on, mate, and thanks for the patience.
You're very, very welcome, mate. It's nice to meet you, Jack, finally, and have a get into this, mate. Yeah.
Let's take you back to the start of your journey, mate.
We will, yeah. We'll go very, very way back. We'll go back. But I just want to say first, anyone who's struggling, anyone who's got a trauma going on, anyone who's got addiction going on, just know that there is better days ahead. You've just got to know it. There's a maxim, a Greek. I'm Greek Cypriot, so I've looked about Greece and studying ancient philosophy and stuff, and there's a saying, and it's know thyself, and it just means like know where you are. You're grounded. You're on the earth. You're living day to day. You're doing well. Don't beat yourself up about your past. Everyone's got a past. We've all got a history. There's a saying, everyone's got a book in them, and it's absolutely true. Everyone can write a book themselves. Everyone could be an author. It's just that, you've got to know that you've got them keys within you as well as other people helping. But most importantly, you have got the keys within you yourself to change, to stop overthinking, to stop thinking about trauma, to stop worrying about where this addiction, what you've got, you can stop it. It's very easy. Me and you are living proof of that, Jack. That addiction can be changed. You can stop. It's not a lifelong disease. I mean, I see old drug addicts walking down the street, and I think to myself, my God, if you only knew what I knew at my age, you could have stopped by now. Do you know what I mean? And what I know is, know that you've got the keys within you to do it. You are a very, very powerful human being. Every individual was put here to be someone and do something with themselves, to make a mark. And you can still make your mark. I mean, these people in the 70s and 80s who changed the world, and they do science and all sorts. These people who are still working in the 70s and 80s, who enjoy the job day to day. So you don't sit there thinking you're 30, 40, 50, thinking your life's over, because it really isn't. You're literally halfway through your life. Do you know what I mean? So I'd just like people to know that you can change anytime you want, and you can become a person. And I'm living proof of that. Right. So I was born in prison. My mum was a prisoner, teenage prisoner, and my dad was in prison at the same time. So my mum was heavily pregnant. She went to prison. I've been popped out. I'm on a mother and baby in HMP style in Wilmslow. She's being bombarded by, can you give this baby the life what he deserves and stuff like that? Because they're questions what are rightly asked of a drug addict, right? Can you look after this baby? Is this baby going to be right for you? And blah, 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 at this time in your life. And, them questions are very hard to answer for someone who's addicted to drugs, okay? So I can get where the struggle comes from. And I got a probation report when she was released from prison, so I know the struggle she had, Jack. And the struggle she had was, if she was immature, she was a teenager, so drug addict teenager, addicted to heroin, very difficult. And she was asking questions such as, if I give him away, can I send him Christmas presents and birthday cards? So you can see her immaturity, She was very immature. And then she was being told, if you do give the baby away, meaning me, you will be given to two doctors. The baby's going to be given to two doctors. So what sort of chance is she got against that thought? You know what I mean? So eventually she signed the paperwork. When she was released, mind, in the meantime, I got carted off to an orphanage just round the corner from the prison, what's supposed to have been a really hard place, which I can imagine it was in the 70s, So I wasn't treated very well in the orphanage. I mean, I got adopted afterwards, after some time in the orphanage. think I was signed up for adoption at about 9 months old. And my adoptive mum and dad who adopted me, a Welsh woman, a Jamaican man, he was super strict, she was super cool. And they said the orphanage was a really rough place, you know what I mean? And they went up one time after 4 o'clock to see me because they'd seen me before. They'd noticed my big flying saucer shaped eyes, they said. And they wanted to come up and see me again. They got there after 4 o'clock and they got told the baby's locked away. You can't see him now till tomorrow. So they took the picture of that. It was a very rough place, you know. And you can imagine the getting prisoner babies, you know what I mean, and an influx of babies, and there's probably only a couple of staff. So you can imagine it must have been hard. Anyway, I was eventually taken to Mancoats, which is like an industrial area in the centre of Manchester, right next to the city centre, you know. And in the city centre, there's obviously a gay village prostitute area, you know, as there is in every city centre. So I used to run away a lot early. I was born in distress, right? But I didn't, obviously at the time, I didn't know. So I used to have trouble at night sleeping. I used to have a lot of problems. I used to get the pillow and wrap it around and try and bang my head off it. And I'd count to like 1,000 before I went to sleep. And, you know, the whole house would hear it. My adoptive sister, who was 5 years older than me, who was unfortunately dead now of a drug overdose. She died of prescription medication in 2020. She was 5 years older than me. She used to say the sound was that rhythmic. It would put her to sleep every night, you know, me banging my head off the pillow. But that was just my trauma, you know. And I'd go to sleep and I'd wake up and I'd dream I was mopping the floor when in reality I'm in the bed. And my dad was a Jamaican man, like I say, he was very strict, didn't know how to handle it. So he used to pull his belt off and the bamboo cane, fishing rod and the bleeding in his hand and stuff. And he'd whack me around and stuff, do you know what I mean? And I can even remember him one time rubbing my face in the wee, you know, to try and get me to stop like you would do to like an animal, you know, which was quite distressing, you know. So I used to get torn by running away a lot, thinking, why would he pick me and then beat me, you know what I mean? That was my thinking type thing. Sorry, I'm a bit nasal because I've got a bit of a cold. So yeah, I think of it, I get a lot of mixed emotions about him. I didn't really respect him as an adult because he used to beat me a lot. So I used to run away a lot, you know, with the waifs off the estate and the lads who was gaming up to run away, and we'd run. I mean, my adoptive dad told me I got found once when in the end the long site, which is quite far away from here, you know what I mean? So I did used to make an effort to run away and get picked up off the police and I'd get took home, do you know what I mean? And I think I enjoyed that. I used to get a kick off that, you know. And that was my first like interactions with the police, was getting brought home off running away. So then at the next level, I started stealing and stuff from shops, local news agencies and whatnot. And then obviously it escalates to stealing from high street stores in the city centre. But before that, I used to go in the empty houses. There was a lot of empty houses everywhere. It was that easy to get an house back then. You could go and sit in the housing in the morning. You'd be given keys for a new property by the dinner time. So they was flooded with empty houses everywhere. So we used to go in and searching them. And I remember going in all these empty houses and abandoned kids' bedrooms and searching all the toys and all that. And one day I've gone in one of these houses and I've pushed the door. There was a door up. I've pushed it over and there was someone asleep on the floor. And he's gone, "Oh, what are you doing?" I've ran off. And it was a lad. Now he's dead. Now he died on doing a burglary. His leg got caught on a piece of broken glass in the window, and he bled out trying to do a burg. So he's dead now. But I'll never forget him. He went, "Oh, what are you doing?" I ran home and went back the next day. There'd been glue sniffing in the room. So I found all the bags in the empty Evo stick tub, and I started messing with it, blowing in them, and it got me high, and it took me to this beautiful place. So I never forgot that. I remembered, I thought, wow, whatever drugs like this dangerous thing is, you know what I mean? Then I started doing Tipex in school and, you know, you transfer to something else, but seeing the glue sniffers first. And then then I started stealing in the city centre and stuff, taking cars out of the main shops and stuff like that. And there was a lot of stolen cars on our estate as well. So we'd try and get the stolen cars started. So we'd be rolling them down the road and, you know, sometimes get a chase off the police and stuff. And I used to get a buzz off that, you know, it was kind of refreshing to feel that energy, you know what I mean, of like the sirens and all that. I'd get like a kick out of it. So like I say, I was a little petty thief then. I didn't really have no one telling me it was wrong as such. They'd say don't do it, but because they want my parents, I don't think I really listened to him like I should have, you know what I mean? So I was stealing and whatnot, and also I had a big burn on my back, which is like a big cigarette stub out right in the centre of my back. It's crazy. And when I asked my dad how it happened, he said it was through wee in the bed, which is total bollocks. You cannot get a wee burn, the dead centre of your back, through wee in the bed, all right? But as I was, when I was a kid, I didn't really, kind of brushed it off, but I was quite suspicious of it. And to this day, I've never ever found out how I've got this big cigarette stub out on my back, you know? But like I say, when I was a kid, it was distressing. I remember being in the bathroom, my mum saying to me that she used to smoke heavy and she used to say, I never burnt you, son, it wasn't me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd say, what's this on my, like this, feel this thing on my back, you know what I mean? Like this circle. And she'd say it wasn't me. So, like, that was quite interesting, you know what I mean? But I never ever found out who did it. But like I say, petty theft, drugs, glue sniffing, butane gas. I tried butane gas, and that was just divine. You know what I mean? It took me to this place where I really wanted to be. You get when you get high off those solvents, it's a very, very high hallucinogen. Very, very dangerous. It can kill you instantly. I wouldn't advise anybody to do it. Solvents, because they can kill you. They can give you this bubble to your brain, and it can kill you stone dead straight away. A lot of kids died through it. But I used to do it, and I used to get this reoccurring nursery rhyme, nursery song. And for some reason, it took me closer to my birth mum, if that makes any sense. So I used to chase this high. I chased this nursery rhyme. Do you know what I mean? Because of this music, what it had given me. So it gave me this sweet release. You know what I mean? And I did that. I think I chased that high forever, probably. I chased it all my life. But I quickly progressed. Well, so I started doing petty crimes in the city centre and stuff. And then at 11, we moved house and we moved to another area. It was only in the next area to us, but to me, it seemed like 1,000 miles away. And some guy who lived in the flats was got me to with this other guy's house, and he was a paedophile, so I was sexually abused. And I went on for quite a while, longer than I'd like to admit, you know. But when you're 11, you don't know any different. You don't know, you know what I mean? And because I was going through so much with my dad, I didn't like him. I didn't trust him. I didn't believe in what he said to me. So I didn't have the nerve to tell him, do you know what I mean? And this man was telling me you can't tell tales and all that lot. And I just was locked into this cycle of being sexually abused, which was quite hard. But when I got old enough, I realised that, like a couple of years in, I realised that this guy was doing something wrong to me, you know what I mean? And I started avoiding him and pushing him away and telling him to, you know what I mean? And it was just hard for me, you know? So we get to like 14, me and my best mate, and this girl stops us on our estate and says, do you want to start selling weed for me from my house? So we say, yeah, sweet. And we start being drug dealers, 13, 14, we're drug dealers, serving through a diamond shape in a spiral through a door, bang, bang, loads of block strips of Sputnik hash. Some guys tried to rob us once and they realised if it wasn't that, obviously, they know us, so we was all right. But yeah, and then nightclubs then as I'm getting a bit older, I get into nightclubs and the hacienda and raving and all that lot. You know what I mean? Quickly get into selling like acid and amphetamine and cannabis. I'm a cannabis dealer by then. I got a job. I got sacked for theft from a workplace within 2 weeks. So 9 to 5, it wasn't for me. You know what I mean? My sister got me a job in a factory and I ended up robbing the place straight away. You know, robbing quilt cover and pillowcase sets, and I just started stealing from there. I didn't respect adults. You know what I mean? So I was into the rave scene and going around, traveling around to nightclubs and stuff. I was only a kid though, and then it started getting a bit ugly. Then the rave scene, did it? Ecstasy started getting a bit dark, and things started going moody. So I was in a nightclub one day, and this girl who I'd just been selling pills there, and I've got like 500-600 quid in my pocket. And this girl who I'd seen, whose face was quite recognisable, turned out she lived not far from me. I went back to her house one day, and I'm dabbing into my whiz, and she says to me, "Have you tried cocaine?" And let me just get a drink of this. Sorry, mate.
That's all right, mate. Take your time.
So this girl says to me, "Have you ever tried cocaine?" So I'm showing off. Yeah, kind of. But I've only ever had it in a joint before. It never really, it was known as a yuppie drug back then. It wasn't something what we took, was it? So I'm sat in her house, and she'd phoned a dealer. And this guy comes in the kitchen, and then she does a thing in the kitchen when he's gone. And she literally, I'm sat there on the settee as me and you are sat there now. And she comes in with a pipe, crack pipe, and just says, "Suck on this." And me, before I even thought about it, I just sucked on it, done what she said. Held in this smoke, and my God, it was a crack was a very, very extremely strong hit. And straight away, I knew I was going to be an addict. It's weird. It's the first thought I had was, I'm going to be addicted to this. I love it. It's the best thing since sliced bread. That's what I thought to myself. And I'd been taking drugs for quite a long time by then. So I knew the danger. I didn't really know the danger. I just knew it was super powerful, right? And what was weird, Jack, is a few months before, I bought this whiz off my dealer, all right? And in this whiz, it had loads of little squares in it of like little glass pieces. And it was all the same shape. And I thought, that's weird. It's like crystals in the whiz. And me, like, I used to like to smoke a lot of things back then. So I separated all these glass pieces out the whiz. And I had a drag of it, and it was like this chemical taste. But it was super nice. And I didn't know at the time, obviously, it was ice. You know, that methamphetamine. Methamphetamine it was. Crystal meth. And I smoked it. And when I tried this crack later on, it really felt like the same thing, because I could never get it again off the guy. I said to him, "Can you get me some more of that with that in it?" And he's like, "Nah, it was a one-hit wonder that." And I was like, "No, man, that was amazing." So obviously a few months later, when I tried this crack, I thought, wow, that chemical kind of thing, very similar to crack. So anyone who's never tried crystal meth, who's ever tried crack, it's just the same kind of hit, the same addictive quality. It melts the same. It's got that, chemical Moorish taste, like us addicts like, you know what I mean? And I wanted more of that. So kind of, God knows the people who that crystal meth's coming about now. I'll tell you now, it's very, very dangerous. You know what I mean? Because I had it, and it's very much like, it's very, very addictive. That's a warning. You know what I mean? It's a warning. It's very addictive. So anyway, I tried this crack cocaine with this girl. I went to my best mate's house, give him it to try and all that lot, and not thinking straight, and I was quickly an addict, quickly a crackhead. So, when you're a crackhead, you're just committing crimes all day. You've got to, haven't you, to survive. So I'm in, and I go to prison. Prison for the first time was very overwhelming. Talk about a lot about that in my book about prison and about how hard it is in prison and stuff. Yeah, so prison was a shock. But it didn't stop me going back. Do you know what I mean? But I can remember the first time saying to myself, "I'm never going to go to prison again. I'm never going to touch crack again." And you know, when you get your discharge money, us drug addicts know that we use it for drugs. Like, you cannot tell me 90% of the drug addicts out there who've been to prison will say, yeah, I use my discharge money to buy drugs. You know what I mean? So, like, I wouldn't advise people to, like, I wouldn't advise the prison service to give you, like, 100 quid on your release. It doesn't make sense. Giving someone who's into drugs money and going, go on your merry way, make your way back to your own area. Me, I scored on the way home, you know what I mean? I was in my adoptive mum and dad's house, cracked out my head, going, hello, you know what I mean? Thinking, wow, I want some more. I couldn't wait to go back. You know what I mean? You know, it's a very, very dangerous drug. So, yeah, roll on 20 years, know the drill. Drug addict, crime, criminality, prison, doing hits in prison and not having anyone sending me money, so having to pick parcels up and sell drugs and all that. Because I was a game lad, you know what I mean? So I was a drug dealer quite easily, you know what I mean? I could collect all the canteens and off the lads and all that lot. So, you know, 20 years of prison and drug addiction and crime and misery for everyone, do you know what I mean? And causing havoc, you know. Because when you're a drug addict, you're like a mini tornado, aren't you? You're just eating everything up around you. You know what I mean? You're causing havoc, upset, trauma, you know, have crime, everything. You know, you're just sucking everything up what you come across. You know what I mean? So I see it as like, you know, like a mini tornado. It's like I like to describe it that way. So I got in that time. I got shot. I got stabbed. I got kidnapped. I got beaten about the head. I've had my head split open a good few times. I've, you know, been shot, you know, real shot, Moss side, gang war shot, you know what I mean, off gangsters. Been stabbed off a well-known gang member, stabbed me right in my side, bang, just for nothing, just for saying I wouldn't buy him a can of beer. He stuck a big knife in my side. So, you know, I've been through the wars and stuff. I've had my tongue split open. Got caught pickpocketing in Blackpool and fighting with bouncers and all sorts of stuff. So it's a very, very rough life being an addict, you know what I mean? I wouldn't advise it to anybody. It is a very, very rough, hard existence. Anyone out there who's listening to this who's never tried Class A drugs, I'd tell you, stay way away. Do you know what I mean? Stay clear of it. You just don't need it in your life. Whether it's cocaine powder, cocaine crack, you don't need heroin, you don't need any of them. Because you will not live a good life. You'll be married to that drug. You will love that drug more than your own family. You will come to be reliant on that drug. You know, you'll start taking that drug before you go to work in the morning. Then you know you've got a big problem. There's so many people out there at the minute taking powder cocaine before work. It's insane the amount of people who are on it. I think there should be a big look around that the laws being changed on, especially powder cocaine, because, like I say, it's a massive thing now. Western civilization, there's tons of it being taken every year. And no government wants to grip hold of it. Everyone's scared to grab it. You know what I mean? This big problem, what they're staring at. You know, every drug addict commits crime. Every drug addict is just a nuisance. Petty crime, thieving, shoplifting. It's where it mostly comes from. I mean, if they could say to those yuppie guys who take cocaine on a Friday night, look, you can buy cocaine from the chemist. You've got to sign a waiver saying you're going to take it yourself. You can only buy a gram a night or whatever they do. You just need to get a grip on it and have it like they sell cocoa powder and any other thing what they use. They should have a grip on it. Do you know what I mean? People should be priced out of the market. People stood in the street should be priced out of it. You know what I mean? They shouldn't be. It should be cheap in what they sell. Do you know what I mean? And it's just insane that they let people die. And I don't want this country to get to having like a fentanyl problem like in America. You know what I mean? No. There's thousands of people dying in America every year off tablets, which are very, very strong. And it's opiate-based medication. And they've got these, just call it a super opiate. You know what I mean? And it's like a super drug. What you take, and you're addicted. And these kids taking them, who it's college kids and dying and all that lot. You know, a big life ahead of them, and it's tragic. And I think to myself, my God, how the hell have some Mexican mafia, or even let's call them South American mafias, get a grip on these drugs and just be killing thousands of kids? But it started before that. It started with legal medicines being given to American people for
Mm.
pain relief. That's how it started. So that's a warning for us, basically. You know what I mean? Watch how much pain relief you're giving to people, because, like, you know, there's just warnings out there, isn't there, Jack? You know what I mean? It's scary, isn't it? I'm
It
very
is.
fearful for the future. You know, I really do think that they should get a grip on the drug legalization, or at least have a really serious conversation about it, an adult conversation. I mean, ask themselves, do they want that 16-year-old who's just left school to become a drug dealer, like a county line drug dealer, or they want him to have better opportunities? Why don't they have it like that? That drug paid for by people who can afford it, and the money what they make off it be put into youth services and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? And stay kids away from it. Say you can't have it till you're 21 or whatever. Do you know what I mean? You can't try it till you're 21, but it does need to be brought into the mainstream. Cocaine, it, and these drugs, they need to have a grip on it, so the kids don't want to try those handmade drugs what are made on a machine, popping them off by hand, and they don't know what quantities of drugs are going in it. And you know, the kid, there should be a market for drugs somewhere, so the kids go, nah, I'm not going to buy that off the street. I'm going to buy it from a chemist where it's certified, and I know where it backtracks, where exactly what drug it is, what effects I'm going to get off it. I don't want to buy some crude made tablet what someone's selling in school. You know what I mean? I don't want to do that. I want to know I've got a choice when I'm older. I can try this, and that. That's where it needs to be. Do you know what I mean? And if we don't get there, we are going to see this wave of these drugs like killing people. Do you know what I mean? And if you don't think that's true, let me tell you about spice. I mean, I was addicted to spice, all right? And it was legal when I was addicted to spice. And let me tell you something, spice did more damage to me than any of the other drugs. It turned me into an introvert. It made me sweat from the inside out. It cooked something in my body. I still have the effects now, years later. I still have the after effects of the spice. You know what I mean? The damage that done to me is insane, and that was legal.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing with that is, they was changing the product that many times. No one could keep up with what the drug was, so it was that dangerous, and it was changing it. This is that. That's a warning for him. Legalize it. Tell us what's in it, where it comes from, what product, exactly what it is. Have it on the market. Don't be going through these kids having to die before they see sense. You know what I mean? Successive governments going through this drama of all these kids going to be dead before they see, right, we need to get a grip on it. We need to have it subsidized. People who can't afford it, they should get it. You know, there should be, if you're homeless, there should be a room where you can go and smoke it for an hour, go back on the street. Do you know what I mean? That's what it should be like, mate. You shouldn't have to go robbing someone's handbag for it, or even committing, going in and robbing a bunch of CDs out of the shop and running out. That shouldn't be the way anymore. You know what I mean? It's just crude, and it's you know, them laws from 1971 was back then. They're 50 years old. Them drug laws. They need to get a grip of it, man, and think about things and pull themselves together and have this adult conversation before kids die. And that's my biggest thing, Jack. Do you know what I mean? So I'll just show you my book, Jack. Right? I wrote a book. So the book's called Born in Prison. How I survived shootings, stabbings, prison, crack addiction, Manchester gangs, and dog attacks. And it's exactly what it says. It's how I survived them streets, mate. Do you know what I mean? And them streets, I'll let me tell you, the real underground is a very, very dangerous place. You don't see it on the TV. You don't see it anywhere, mate. It's very, very dangerous. It's the place where someone will pull a knife and strip you naked on the street, mate. It's somewhere where someone will give you, put an extra gram of heroin on the spoon to kill you stone dead to take the wedge out your pocket. These people giving people spice joints in the city centre to knock them out, to take the money. That's what's going on now. These people who will make you overdose in a drug den to take your wedge. Do you know what I mean? It's a very, very dangerous place. And I've lived through that and I've survived it. And you have too, Jack. So credit to us for surviving that. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of people who are stuck, I think this book will be a great read because it gets right to the pinpoint of why I was doing it and the reasons why and why I changed as well, Jack. You know what I mean? It's very important, mate. And I'd give everyone it to read, and it's got great reviews. 80% of people have given it 5 stars straight up. 11% have give it 4 stars. One person's only give it a low score out of like 50 odd reviews. You know what I mean, Jack? So it makes sense, mate. You know what I mean? It's a brilliant read. I'd tell anyone to read it and give it a check out, mate. You know what I mean? And I know you've had a little go of it, Jack. And what do you think of it, mate?
I think it's good. I downloaded it on Audible because I stack up my credit. So
yeah.
if I get an interview and I need a book and it's on Audible, I can get it. So I've got about 3/4 of the way through it. It's raw.
It's raw.
It's open.
It's not dressed up, is it, Jack?
It's not. It's honest. It's very honest.
Yeah, it's out there, yeah.
And quite descriptive.
Yeah.
And it doesn't pull no punches, and I quite like that sort of writing.
Yeah. I didn't want to put my own emotion into it, Jack. I wanted you to make your own mind up of what you thought. Do you know what I mean? Of some of the things in the book, you know?
I get it. I do.
Yeah. I think people are old enough to make their own minds and make their own emotions up. You know, I don't need to tell them what I thought of it, you know, in that situation. So I'll let you decide that, the reader.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's I don't get triggered very easily, you know.
Yeah.
There's only a few things that trigger me, like seeing somebody do a line on telly, and it makes my nose water.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
And the smell of weed, it makes me, you know, my wife will tell you, my kids will tell you, if I smell it out on the street, I'll go absolutely berserk. I hate it.
Yeah, the smell, yeah.
But words are my game. And, you know, they don't really sort of trigger me, but I can relate a lot to what I've heard.
Yeah.
You know, I was born to a young mum. 16, 17, 18, not very old.
Yeah, same,
brought into England. Taken off her by social services because she had nappy rash. Put into a foster home and then adopted. Now, I was told on my 8th birthday that I was adopted, which mega messed me up.
I bet it did, yeah.
Gave me a existential crisis.
Yeah.
So then I didn't know who I was, so I created all these different.
Of course you didn't.
And you know,
that was tough.
Things, and I fell into a lot of things, and it followed me through my whole life.
Yeah, of course it does.
You know, crack was for me the be all and end all for a while. You know, especially, you know, I'm coming up 10 years clean in 27th June.
Wow, yeah. Well done, lad.
Sitting on the streets of Norwich, like, cracked out my nut. And but towards the end, it wouldn't even, it would calm me.
Yeah.
I've got a divergent brain, so it would calm me for, you know, towards the end. But there's nothing more heartbreaking than sitting in a crack house, trapped in the verges of county lines crime.
Yeah, I know, it's horrible, isn't it?
Praying to God that you either take your life or take away your addiction. It's the lowest that you will ever get.
It is very, very low, mate. No one gets it, man. There's nothing worse, mate. That's what I'm saying. The real underground, mate. There's nothing like it, isn't there, mate?
No,
you know what I mean?
And you lose everything, and you lose yourself.
you lose yourself, mate. You end up sleeping in empty houses and that. I've had fleas in them and all sorts, and it's just horrible, isn't it? You can live in some grubby, sleeping in just a mess. And wow, you don't know who's going to come in the room and bleed and do you in, do you?
No, you don't. You don't.
No.
I mean, I was always sort of safe, or I like to think I was safe. Everybody knew me, but I lost everything.
Yeah,
My mind, I lost. And that's where it takes you to. And I
yeah, it goes
wasn't
to
even
the
kind of
show.
people.
Yeah,
At one point, I went to 8 funerals in 7 days of
no,
people dying on the street or
yeah,
overdose.
yeah.
You know, it's
Well,
awful, mate.
yeah, it's awful. Well, that was one of the reasons why I changed. I went to a drug team place near the prison here where I live, and we've got a wall as you walk in, and it's all the people who've died from the city and come out of jail and overdose, and it's just insane. I looked at him there and I seen all these people who were new, and it just like hit me it's like it become real, like the wall, like you see on a horror movie, like Freddy Krueger, and it all comes real. It's like this wall come out of me and grip me and wrap me around it and just pop my head off. Honest to God, it was like,
Mm,
oh my God, it like really got inside me, and I thought, I'm responsible for some of them names up there. Do you know what I mean? Because of my selling bits in town and this and that. And I just think, my God, you know what I mean? Trying to earn, get my own drugs and whatnot. It's just hard, terrible, terrible. You know what I mean? So I'm just glad that I'm out of that, Jack, and we're clean, and you know what I mean. That we can sit here now and say we're through that now. Do you know what I mean? It's very important that you pat yourself on the back sometimes. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. It's the hardest thing that anybody will ever do.
For sure.
Drug addicts there's still a lot of stigma around addiction and addicts, and
He is. He is.
it breaks me out. It does break me out.
Yeah, for sure,
Uh,
mate. Yeah,
and all this and mental illness, still stigma
yeah,
around it. And we're in
yeah.
2024, mate. We
I know. Do you know? Listen to me, mate. You know what should happen? If you take drugs, they should say to you, mate, what is going on? What is up with you? Why? Why are you doing this? What reasons are you taking it for? What traumas you got going on? Tell me, let us help you. You know what I mean? I never had, you know what, mate? I tell you what, none of my adoptive family ever set me down and said to me, stop taking that. It's crack cocaine. It's very addictive. You're going to be addicted to full life. No one ever come to me and said, anyone who I respected ever said to me, stop that shit. Do you know what I mean?
mm,
I used to get more off dealers saying, you need to stop that, man. You fucking mad. Do you know what I mean? The only
I
people
get,
who tell me to stop is the fucking dealer because I've been buying too much off of me. Like, wow, I'm turning my phone off in a bit, mate. You're driving me up the wall. Do you know what I mean?
I
Fucking
get.
hell. So, Jack. So, yeah, mate, I just wanted to give everyone a big pat on the back and say, them people who are struggling, tell yourself that you've got this, man. You've got it. You don't need a guru, a master, a sage, a bleeding. You don't need that person to tell you you can do this. You can do it yourself. Like you are that superhero who you're looking for. You are it yourself. I can't stress it enough, mate. Do you know what I
Mm,
mean? It takes you to do it. Obviously, if you think that that person who's helping you is helping you and it's going well, fantastic. You're helping each other, you're going up like that together. Do you know what I mean? But if you haven't got that person by your side, you can do it. You can put it down. You can screw it up. You can throw it. The last time I had spice, I opened 4 sacks of spice. I put them in a bucket. I put it in the sink and I threw it out the kitchen window. And I've never stuck it again. So you can do that with the foil, with the pipe, with the weed, with the whiz, with the ass. Anything you need to change and stop, you can do it. And I tell you something, if it's affecting you and you're telling yourself, shit, this is becoming a problem, it is a problem. Let me tell
mm,
you, you don't need anyone else to be telling you. If you're thinking in your way, little mind, this is becoming a problem. I'm hiding it too much. I'm doing a bit too much behind my mate's back or my friends. I'm doing whatever. Kick it in the head before it grips you by your what's its and screws your life up.
mm.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
So what's next for Lee?
Well, I think another book. I didn't say enough in the first one. I've got a lot to say, you know what I mean? I've got a lot of things to talk about. I've been through a lot, do you know what I mean? And the second book will be just as crazy and just as fantastic and just as insane. But I just want people to know that if you're suffering mental health, we all suffer mental health. I say that everybody suffers mental health. It's just what level it comes out of you.
Mhm.
Just what level it comes out of you at one given time, at any given time in your life. You could be 40 now and you could have had a breakdown in your 20s. It just is what it is. You know what I mean? Everyone goes through a little bit of stage where you struggle and you don't feel like everything's right and everything's coming together. But let me tell you, time passes, mate. It comes together in time. You don't need to do anything stupid now because in 5 years' time it will be long forgotten about. Do you know what I mean? If your heart broke off, you've just split up with your girlfriend. Let me tell you, in 2 years' time, you won't even remember her name. So just remember that the future is brighter for you. Do you know what I mean? And he is changing you, mate. That's what I got to tell you, Jack.
Nice one, mate. Nice one. Well, thank you for this, mate.
You're
It's
very
well.
welcome.
Thank you for all your patience over the past few days.
You're
Trying to get
welcome, mate. It's been worth it, Jack.
you just hang on there a minute, and then we'll reconnect when I've finished up. Thank
Okay.
you, guys, for tuning in as always.
Thank you, guys.
Without you, there would be no accidental journalist.
Well, you're very welcome, buddy.
There would be none of this without the guests, without the listeners.
Oh yeah, the guests and the people who make it happen, aren't they? Yeah. So what I say, everyone who's watched this, thank you very much as well. And the book's available on Amazon. It's available on Kindle and it's available on Audible to listen to as well. And it's like a $5.
The link will be below as when this goes on.
Thank you very much, Jack. All right, buddy.
Cheers, guys. I shall speak to you later.
Bye, Jack.